Okay, watch now. Here we are.
Um, it froze on Facebook Live. You don't get to see our really cute promo, or it didn't
Oh,
show up
really?
anyway. Now it does. It's tape delayed in
Oh,
case we swear.
exactly right. Holy cow. Okay, so we've talked weekend. Everybody, today we're talking historic homes. We're going to talk about what is a historic home, what's a historic district, and then we're going to show you the inside of 5 historic homes that are really fun to see. So
Yeah.
before we do that, though, we're going to talk about what's happening in the market. Kyle, I'm going to hand it off to you because we're going to look at the market in a different way this week. Kyle has discovered a fun and new way to share what's going on.
Each week, the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service, provides data, and I don't know how long they've been providing this. This may be a new snapshot, but I would show this to you live on the MLS, except for that sort of slows down our screen. So I took pictures of it and I'm showing it to you now. So this is a week-to-week report about closed listings. So these are when you go to the closing table, pay the money, and the title changes hands. And you will see that over the past, since February, closings.
So the green is 2019, the blue is 2020.
Exactly.
Okay.
And of course, and who is surprised that that the data has become just a little wonky during the COVID time, where it's always 2019 is higher. But note that there were still closings even during COVID because people have to move. And that's what I would often tell my clients. But look at the last.
It's not like it went down to zero, right?
Did not go down to
so
zero.
if you look at the left hand of the screen, which would be
blue.
February 24th, you're going to see the blue is bigger than the green. How do you like that? Blue is bigger than the green, which means that like we've been saying for the last 7 shows, we were tracking better in 2020 than we were in 2019. Fast market was great. And then if you look at the week of 3/23, things started to go down, and the number of closings in 2020 was below 2019. And then getting to 6/29, we've surpassed previous year for the first time, right?
Yes.
And that's a lagging indicator. Closings are lagging indicators of what's
absolutely. And but even when I go back and look at 3/23 to 3/30, how it dropped all of a sudden, 2019's that week was so much stronger in 2019. I wonder if right after closing, people delayed.
right.
If people pushed back their closing or canceled just out of pure what is going on with this world. And now we are starting to pick up. And you're right, 6/29, we really exceeded 2019. I think that was a lot of those, a lot of the demand picking up of people who really wanted to move. And even the last week that we show, the one that week ending last Monday, we're getting back.
Right.
Getting stronger. And it's always going to be just a little bit less because of going back to because it's summertime and people are away.
Right. Okay.
So here's under contracts. Look at that.
Yeah. Now this really shows the differential where we were tracking ahead, and then the blue, just the bottom dropped out week of March 23, March 30, 4, 6. We were trying to get our sea legs, but then look how we've come back.
Exactly. I mean, even steadily in lockdown, under contracts were inching their way back because people saw that we were going to come out. And then
there was a way to show while under COVID, and you could,
now, to be fair, while 2019 was a slower year, summertime does tend to dip anyway. Because people do have other things that they want to do in the summer months. But all of this extra recovery is from the dip during the COVID months. Now we're going to the next one. So new listings. This is tough.
So new
Uh,
listings again was tracking, and
oh,
then
it's doing well.
it dipped again in March, and then we're starting to get back up again, but we still don't have enough inventory, as you can
We
see.
do we do not have enough inventory, and 2019 was a year of low inventory.
Very good
So
point. This is only showing versus 1 year, which was a
yeah,
low inventory year, right?
and so we can't really applaud that we're back to 2019 levels, because 2019 levels weren't so great.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to the next one. All righty, down. Rented listings, which I find interesting. Even after the recovery, people are not wanting to rent. Renting is down. Look at that.
That's really interesting.
I think it's the low interest rates are making people finally get off the
Sure.
spot
Makes
and
sense.
start to look into buying. Now, tell everyone, Anne, the difference between active and temporarily no showings.
Temporarily no showings means they've taken it off the market. So if you're looking at an MLS feed, you're not going to see something that's temporarily off market.
We get to see that information, and the huge growth, because that is huge growth. Usually, what are some of the reasons people will take it off the market generally in a non-COVID year?
In a non-COVID deal, oh, they have something personal going on and they don't want to show. Maybe maybe they had a problem with the property and they're fixing it. Sometimes somebody gets a little water leak and they want to take it off and do some repairs. Or
holidays.
Holidays is a big one that people go off the market, right?
But you and I and all realtors can see that a property is temporarily off the market. So if you're interested in a property that is temporarily off the market, I saw this 2 weeks ago. Why don't I see this property now? Whatever happened to it?
Right.
We can call that broker who has the listing and say, why are you off the market? And if it's a reason like, so-and-so is in town, or they're a little nervous about COVID, is there a way
we had a baby?
Can show it? We had a baby, whatever it is. We can say,
Mm-hmm.
can I bring somebody in? We'll be as quick, we'll be quick like bunnies. We will, silent, mask, gloved, everything. So sometimes we can still get you in.
Right. Okay.
But it's nice to see that we're moving back to more normal numbers for temporarily off the market, ones that reflect, as you talked about, just property upgrades, repairs, somebody in town, some la la la. So that's a good sign.
Yep.
Open houses.
Oh, this is a funny shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. So this graph shows us how many open houses take place each week. And we don't see January, February here. We just see starting in March, where it's 600, 500, and then it goes down to less than 200. And now that we're coming out of COVID, we're getting lots more. So
I don't think this must not show, and they don't say this, the virtual open houses that a lot of folks did during COVID. And I can't tell. It doesn't say whether it includes the virtual.
But you know what? When Baird and Warner did our company-wide virtual, we had over 500. And you notice, that's not there. So
that couldn't have been all us.
Yeah, right.
So, and the one, the really short one below, the 1,174 was the weekend of
4th of July.
Yeah, that's always going to be slow.
Exactly right. Okay.
But so open houses are back. I tend to see that that's happening more in the neighborhoods with houses and in the suburbs. Are you seeing a lot go on in sort of the denser parts of the city?
I don't know. I'm still seeing fairly active open houses. Yes.
Okay. I've seen fewer than I would expect. Okay. So impact of COVID-19 to real estate showings. So showing time is the software that a lot of brokers, I use it, use to show, to schedule appointments because it tracks data for us. It allows us to automatically seek feedback from buyers, brokers. It allows us to change times in a really efficient way rather than trying to rely on, phone calls and emails.
Right, right.
And,
So this tracks the number of showings through that vehicle.
but there are
So,
people who don't use showing time, and so the data isn't perfect. But look, way up.
right. Showings are
Yeah,
up, activity is up.
trends are up, activity is up. And remember, this is during the lower months of, this dip is the holiday week, and it was still higher that
It was still
holiday
good. If
week.
you look at the little box to the left, it says latest change from same time last year, up 31%.
Yeah.
So that's a
Um,
neat little number. Okay.
yeah. And then the prices. This shows pretty stable prices despite COVID. A lot of people expected COVID to cause property values to drop significantly. And Chicago's market, because we are not an inflated market, shows that it's actually remained pretty stable.
Right.
If anything, it's up a little
Stable
bit.
and up a little. Right.
Yeah.
Good
All
enough.
righty. I'm stopping share.
Okie dokie. So in other words, if you were going to sum it up, Kyle, you would say the market is strong. We're coming out of COVID strong. Prices are stable to a little bit up. Activity is up. One could argue 30% over last year. And while inventory is getting better, we still need better inventory, correct? Isn't that what
Yes,
you were
and
saying?
here's what I would say. There are buyers out there, especially in the 650 and less, 600 and less property range. So a little bit more starter homes, downsizing homes. And we don't have enough inventory for all of it. That is not good. We need more, because the more people who move out of their property and move into the higher price properties, we just have a better, more robust market. We do not have that right now for the higher priced homes.
Exactly.
All
All
right.
right, so let's move into historic. I'm going to share my screen now with you and talk about the fact that there are two different kinds of historic districts. When you hear people talk about historic district, they could be talking about a Chicago landmark district, or they could be talking about the National Park Service's National Historic Registry. So the first one, the Chicago Landmark District, this is from the Chicago Landmarks Commission, where you go in and you say, I want to make this a district. And there are buildings and there are districts, there are commercial and there are residential. And you can find these on the Landmark website. And if you click on one, I'm just going to pick one to show you the difference between Chicago and the National Park Service. So Hutchinson Street District is a landmark district. And they'll tell you in the description, in this case, it's 600 through the 900 blocks of Hutchinson. And it says the architects, the dates that it was made a designation, and so forth. This is the more strict historic district, Kyle, like Old Town, meaning if you want to build, if you want to make a revision to the exterior, you need to get a permit and get it approved by the landmark district. Okay.
If the building is a certain age.
If it's in this landmark district and one of the contributing homes. Okay. Right. So if, for example, if you have this house that I'm showing on the screen right now and you wanted to put in, let's say, a metal green roof, you'd have to get approval from the Landmarks Commission, and they would say no, because that's not in keeping, because it's a Chicago landmark district. Okay.
Right.
The commission's responsible for reviewing every proposed alteration, demolition, or new construction. So oftentimes people who want to buy in Old Town, right, Kyle, they can't do the work they want. And so that can affect the value of the home. right? So
Well,
if you can't,
often you have to negotiate with the area first. And if the area is on board, if your little neighborhood council is on board, the Old Town Triangle Association, for example, is on board and they're never on board,
right,
then you can make the change.
right, exactly right. So the other historic, excuse me, the other historic district is the National Park Service. Now, this is the historic that doesn't have all of the requirements on it. So this is the one when I lived in Lakewood, Balmoral, we were part of this historic district. We were not part of the city landmark. So it didn't mean that we had to do certain things. You didn't have to get any landmark approval to do construction if you're part of one of these. However, and I just want to show you what it looks like. So Edgewater Historical Society went through the process along with the Loyola University, this group of students, and they completed this application. And what we're looking at now is not Lakewood Balmoral, it's the Buena Park one. So Buena Park is the National Historic District Registry, while Hutchinson Street, same area, is the Chicago name for it. Yeah. Okay, so you make this application, you get approved, and then if you're in the so they'll tell you every building, and I'm going to show you a little bit later, 839 Hutchinson. It tells you the architect, who the first owner was, the date of the permit. It's really kind of a fun historic thing.
It is.
And this
that was a suburb at the time.
Yes, it was. You're right. It wasn't annexed to the city until later.
Yeah.
This is a map of the different historic districts. And this one right here is where Buena Park or Hutchinson Street District is. It's in Uptown. It's just north of Irving Park. Okay. So now I want to talk for 1 second about the Illinois Property Tax Savings Program. Doesn't matter which of these historic districts you're in. If you want to, you can go through the program and get qualified to freeze your property taxes. Now, we say it's freezing the taxes. Let me tell you something. It doesn't freeze the taxes per se. It freezes your assessment. So if the budget of the city goes up and they change the multiplier, your taxes will go up, but the assessed value of the home is frozen, and it's frozen for 8 years, and then it's stepped up for 4 more. So you get a 12-year tax incentive for improving your home. And here are the 4 qualifications. Number 1, it needs to be owner occupied, primary residence. Secondly, it needs to be an historic property, either a contributing property within the district or within the bigger city landmark district. You have to rehab within the guidelines. They give guidelines for whatever, but here's what I want to say. There are things that you can do that you might not expect you can do. You can put in a contemporary kitchen.
Oh yeah.
Spend $200,000 and that will qualify. You can put in skylights as long as they're not seen by the front and don't disturb the front. You can do that. You can rehab bathrooms. You can dig out your basement. You can do lots of things and still have that money be qualified. And you need to spend 25% of the fair market value. Now, this is not the Zillow value. This is not the Ann and Kyle what your home is worth value. This is the number the city says, which is less than what your home is worth. And you need to spend 25% over a 2-year period. Now, for those people who own homes that are, you know, like in the 500,000, let's say you own a bungalow, you bought it for $500,000, you can keep track of your hours and quote unquote pay yourself on paper to meet this 25% number. That's
meaning as the general contractor.
Right. If you want to install the tile yourself, for example, you can do that. So it's a great program. It is easy to do. There are other tax savings programs I'm not going to go into today. This is the biggest savings. And
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Now I have heard that that value that it doesn't the tax freeze effectively can be transferred when you sell the property, that it doesn't automatically, it goes away?
It goes away.
Okay.
It goes away. Now, what happens is it takes them a couple years for it to catch up. So the new owner will get some benefit from it
Early on.
early on in the first couple years of ownership.
Okay.
And there is a rule for the new owner how long they have to wait before they can apply. So let's say you take a rehab to a certain level, but then it needs more. So,
Okay. So check with the city's rules. Yes.
yeah. So this is instituted through the Illinois Landmark Preservation Council. It can be found online. Call Kyle or me and we can get you in touch with the right people. There, not only are there, you know, you could fill out the forms and do this all yourself, but there are also experts out there who specialize in just helping people get these forms completed. So if you don't want to do this, I can put you in touch, or Kyle can put you in touch with the people who can get it done for you. So that is today's lesson on historic properties. Let's, I'm going to stop sharing and let you share the properties that you found.
Well, you've already hinted on two, and we were very lucky because we did not work together on these homes. So I looked, this is how I found two of these. I only am giving you two properties. These two homes is I looked in remarks for landmark and historic.
Oh.
That's how I found them, because we do not have a section on historic homes. So,
right.
I know, sort of irritating. Hold on, let me find the correct sheet of paper. There we go. And then here's share screen, piece of cake. All righty, so here we go. So I found two properties. One is on Dover Street, very near, just tucked behind the Buena Park Historic
Right, this
District.
is in Sheridan Park, yeah.
Yes, and it is generally, it describes 4,500, 4,600, and 4,700 blocks of North Dover Streets, and four properties on Beacon Street, which is right behind it, a couple blocks behind it. These properties were built between 1893 and 1927, and they're various architects, and it was designated as a landmark, this district, in 2007. So again, like the Buena Park area, this was considered suburban, a suburban, I know it's so funny now, a suburban commuter district. And look at these homes. So this one I thought was really charming. This again, oopsie, going back, 4716 North Dover Street. It's on the market currently, 3 bedrooms, 4 baths, almost 3,600 square feet. It was built in 1908 for 98,000, and it's on the market for 985,000. Okay, so look at, first of all, it's just charming. And the thing that's, what you're going to notice about this house is they have 2 sun porches that are really, really good. So here's the front sun porch. How nice is that? And those blinds will lower to keep the sun out, but look how pretty that is.
And I see the baseboard heating around. So that's a 4-season year-round room.
Maybe not during a polar vortex, but it certainly is nearly 4. And look at all this leaded glass and that stone fireplace. Apparently that's original. And it really is quite handsome. Now, this is the magic of photographs. This is a much smaller counter than it looks currently in this picture. But look at the pretty glass. And now this is looking out at the back sun porch, which I'll show you in a second. I mean, my God, this is 2 seasons.
Yeah,
summer and a little bit of fall and a little bit of spring. But look how pretty that is to
pretty.
sit. And I'd spend every single evening cocktail hour out there. And then and a nice big yard. So, and a garage. So this I thought was just really handsome. Now, the next one is in the Kenwood Historic District. And this is at 4930 South Woodlawn Avenue. Now, this part of South Woodlawn Avenue has, on the west side of the street, huge houses with enormous lawns. Muhammad Ali for many years had a mega mansion down there. And again, this actually was sort of the very elegant part of town before the fire and after the fire a little bit. But so this was once referred to as the Lake Forest of the South Side. It was developed as a pleasant residential suburb between the 1850s and the 1880s. And then we had the fire in 1871, and it wasn't impacted by the fire, this area. It retained its suburban character even after annexation to Chicago in 1889. By the turn of the century, Kenwood's residents included the lumber merchant Martin Ryerson, meatpacker Gustavus Swift, and Sears Roebuck executive Julius Rosenwald. They are large single-family residences set on spacious lots, and the architects include George Maher, Benjamin Marshall, Howard Van Doren Shaw, and Frank Lloyd Wright. So very impressive.
The who's who of Chicago architects.
Absolutely. So on one side of Woodlawn, on the west side, there are all these just enormous grounds and enormous properties. And this is from that west side of the street. On the east side are the smaller homes, and they're huge too, and really nice properties. So anyway, here we go. Look at that. So this is 4930 South Woodlawn Avenue, which is on the market for, okay, I'm gonna have to do that again. 3,350,000, 8,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 5.5 baths, built on, it's a half-acre lot in the city.
Oh, no kidding, half-acre. Wow, that is very
Look
rare.
at that. So I'm not even at the street. There is a long drive to the street. I don't think I showed. There it is. Hi, that's your front yard.
There you go. Wow.
Put a little, one of those dog fences on, one of those electronic fences, and you can let your dogs run wild. So look at how these people have
it's beautiful.
Lovingly maintained the historic character. There's beautiful beadboard, wonderful paneling. Look at those ceilings, my little rosettes in the ceiling. I mean, my God, beautiful. And this is another room with that beautiful paneling. And is that a whiteboard, or do you think that's art that I just can't see? It's anyway.
It looks like it looks like a whiteboard. I have to
Doesn't
tell
it?
you. Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think it's art that I just can't see well, or they white it out. But
oh,
so
that
you don't
could
have
be.
to keep
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you don't have to keep it all paneling. So look at how beautifully a little bit more modern room could be. So this is one of the 800 living rooms. I thought that was just beautiful. Wouldn't that be a calming place to sit down and chat with people? And look at that dining room.
Oh, that's the dream dining room, isn't it? My.
You're missing a chair right there. or it's broken. That chair is broken because look, the back's
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Well,
and there's a coach house. Now, what's my last picture? Yeah, they've got a folly. Look at that. Just an odd little built-in. So a folly is an architectural structure in a backyard or in a yard that has really no purpose except for the purpose that you make it. And this folly looks like a little library. It's just a little room.
It could be a she shed.
It's a she shed, which is what we Americans call follies. But isn't that great? Anyway, so that's what I got for you. Those are my two. So
well, yours are magnificent.
Oops.
Share my screen here and
yeah.
All right, so this property is currently off the market.
Ooh.
This is temporary off market. This is in Lakewood, Balmoral, 5402 Magnolia, and it's an architect who lives here, and I watched the renovation. He installed this fireplace and chimney and stained the brick to match the house. And in this photograph, you can see it isn't quite an exact match, but when you're there in person, it looks like it's always been there. One of the things I think is really fun is underneath his porch, which is pretty common to have this beadboard here, he painted it blue. And that was the style in the time. You know, we often today see the stained beadboard. Exactly right, like the sky. So anyway, so it's a corner house in Lakewood Balmoral. I want to show you a couple interior pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the inset door, and you can see how pretty that looks here, but yet he's taken it to the inset doors are a great way to do historic kitchens, don't you think? Because it evokes kind of the historic look, but it's still au courant. He's got the different color island here and the big stove.
It looks modern and of the period, both.
Exactly right. It isn't jarring. This is the lower level, garden level.
Look
and
at
they
that.
have the foundation brick. Isn't this cute as a button? And you can see the rafters, and he's painted it. So, you know, sometimes people close this up with drywall and whatever, but I think it's charming.
I do
and
too.
You can see the beautiful wood and stained glass to the right here. Here are pictures. I wonder, there. I'll move us. Did I just move us on your screen?
No, but it looks, I can see perfectly well.
Can you? Okay. All right, and here's the backyard. They did a magnificent job.
Beautiful.
Made the garage look more historic. And then here's the back of the house.
Oh,
So,
look at that.
lovely home. Now, there's another home in Lakewood Balmoral currently for sale that I wanted to show. This is on Wayne, and it's $2.2 million, 4-bedroom, 2 full, 3 half, on a 43 by 123 foot lot, built in 1889. And you can see this glorious oak here with the carved newel posts. Yeah.
That wood's never been painted, God bless them.
Yeah, look at the quarter sawn oak on the door here, nice and heavy.
Look at those ceilings. Wow.
Yeah, the beam ceilings. And here too. And you can see the pocket door over here. It's, you know how rare it is now to find working pocket doors in homes, but the graining on this wood is spectacular. Okay, and now remember 839 Hutchinson, which is the property that I talked about earlier. Here it is, $2,890,000. Don't you love those lions in the front?
I do.
My heavens. So
that looks like it might be, go back for a little bit. It has very prairie style.
It does.
Is this from Lloyd Wright's office?
This is a George Maher.
Oh, this is George Maher. So so he was influenced, but it's got a real prairie feel to it.
It's very linear. Yeah. Yeah. So and inside,
did you see the fence? I love the fence, the iron fence with the address built into it. It's so handsome. Yeah.
So you can see it's very Frank Lloyd Wrightish. Look at these windows up here. The staircase, they've totally left the Victorian baluster look here, and it's, you know, it's a heavier look. It's a horizontal look.
It's sculptural though. It's like art in your home.
It is. Absolutely.
Art in your home. Yeah.
So I want to show you this. We were talking about contemporary kitchens. Beautiful kitchen, but totally not in keeping with the rest of the house. But you know, it's very functional, and because it's separated off, it doesn't, you know, make it look at the back. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
So
what a pretty yard. That's a big lot too. That's a really big lot.
I threw another one in. I must have been all over this. 5739 Colmar. Oh, Sauganash, because people forget Sauganash is an historic district. And this is like your typical Georgian, but you know, you can get one of these homes for not all that much money. And Sauganash is a fabulous look.
Love it.
So those are mine.
Those are good. Excellent.
So before we sign off today, we want to encourage everybody to get in touch with us and tell us what they want to talk about, because we want to talk about what people want to hear about. And if people have questions, please reach out to us.
Absolutely.
Topic for next week. We'll figure one out, obviously. But if somebody has something they want us to show or talk about, please let us know.
And we'll do it. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.